Hello. Don't know if anybody's here right now. I think we're still waiting for people to join, which is all right. I'm running a little behind today. Had to run errands and didn't get home as early as I'd hoped. And I had to get my new air conditioner installed. This one actually is cooling the room down. Like I had one. It was a bit older, and it didn't work. It worked fine at the beginning of the warm season. Like I had a few warm days in May and earlier in the month. And it worked fine. And then this past Sunday, well, like last week, probably around like Friday, I noticed I had started it before I got home. And I got home, and the room wasn't cool. So I'm like, well, that's odd. That's really weird, right? Um, and then Sunday, I had it running to try to get the room cool, the office cool before I started the stream, and it kind of cooled stuff off. It was kind of like it gave me a nice breeze, and that was about it. It wasn't actually cooling the room. It was a little bit cooler than the ambient temperature outside, the air that was coming out of it, and like the rest of the room, because I have another window on the other side of the office, was quite warm. Um, and so it wasn't doing its job. So I just replaced it with this one, and I could feel this new one. It's the same size unit, like it's a 5,000 BTU air conditioner, but I can feel it's already cooling everything a lot better. Like it's only been running for a couple minutes. Hopefully, it isn't too loud. Isn't easily heard on the stream. I'm gonna check that afterwards. Um, but working a lot better, working much better. But this one's brand new, just bought it. The other one, I don't know how old it was. My parents gave it to me, and so it could be anywhere from like 5 to 20 years old. Who knows? Alrighty. Yeah, I got home at 4:30, and the stream was supposed to be at 5. I wanted to get the new AC in because the room was kind of warm, so I was rushing around trying to get it in the window. I got it in there. It's nice and secure. It's not gonna fall out. But like it's not like there's nothing sealing any air getting in or any bugs or anything in. So that'll be after the stream. I will deal with that. All right. So I'm just checking because I didn't have any time. I haven't checked Discord or anything like that. So let's pull Discord down here. Um, Let's check out Discord. Let's see what's going on Discord. Make that a little bit bigger. Hide that. Let's just check the Discord, see what's going on here. All right. Oh my goodness. This is pretty funny. People having too much fun in chat today. All right. Um, bumping. Oh, we have a server suggestion. Alright, so let's see. Activity log. Going on there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright, seems like we're pretty much set on here. I did want to work on the super secret project today. We have a new bot question. Let's see what they're asking. Looks like Kintech is helping them out. Oh, they're doing YouTube DL stuff. Lovely. Oh boy. Looks like everybody's getting helped. Where are they? Let me see what's going on here. This person reopened their channel. Not clear if they have a question. Nothing interesting right now. Doesn't look like I have anybody on stream watching just yet, so I think I can relax a little bit. Move that off screen. Interesting. All right. Check out a meme. Really interesting. All right. Busy day for me. Alrighty. Let's see. What do we want to do? Get everything organized here. What do I have here? What window am I missing? Got this. I'm missing a window. I don't know what it is though. Interesting. Alright. Odd. Very odd. Ooh, we got a new submission. Winter. Ah, yeah. Nice, simple Python solution. The problem with this solution... I'll pull this back down. The problem with this solution right here is you end up with X lists, sublists, that are all the exact same sublists. It just keeps copying the exact same list. So it's, when you make a change to any one of those lists, it changes all of them. So that's the issue with this solution right here. It's super efficient for this challenge, because this challenge is very simple, and it's populating these sublists with immutable values. But if you wanted to change an individual index in one of the sublists, you would find you're changing that index in every sublist. So I did not realize Winter was Vortetti. Pretty sure they've been here for a very, very long time. Here, whoop, go over there. There. I am definitely enjoying having the 3 monitors. It makes things a lot simpler. Oh, didn't even notice you were in chat, Vortetti. Thanks for joining me. How long have you been on the Discord? I feel like I remember you from, like, close to the beginning, but... Yeah, exactly. It works for the challenge. Wouldn't work for... It generally... I wouldn't... Even if it worked for, like, a real-world project, I probably wouldn't use that solution, just because... As soon as you decide to change something and you're doing something different, you end up finding yourself adding in a weird little quirk into your program, finding a little bug in your program where a value you didn't expect to change changed because you changed it somewhere else, and it's all copied data. It's all the same list, and you didn't plan for that. So yeah, even in a real world project, I probably wouldn't use that. I'm trying to think if they're like, I think it might work like if you're building like data that's going to go into like NumPy. I think it'll work because NumPy is just going to pull out all the values and create its own matrix, its own 2D array with the values. But I'm not totally sure on that, so don't quote me on that. I haven't messed with NumPy enough, and I don't know if I have any projects where it's installed right now. So I can't necessarily test it. I mean, you could do it pretty simply with a, like the same solution could be done easily. Here, let's grab that. Like, I wouldn't even do like a helper, because like this is literally how simple it could be. So you have that. We could just change it to be range text. Right like that. And then that's going to create, because since the values are immutable, yeah, exactly, use a list comprehension. Since the value z is immutable, because it's either a string or an integer, and we know it's immutable, you don't have to worry about copying that, because Python's going to copy it regardless. So, like, if I were to make this right here if I were to make that part right there its own list comprehension, it's not going to change how the value z is created. It's not going to create a new instance of z every time. It's just going to keep copying the same instance of z. So it doesn't matter if you use multiplication there, because z is immutable. But because the list can be changed, you don't want to multiply that out. Since it's mutable, you don't want to just multiply it out, because then you get a bunch of copies of the same list, and when you go to change one, you change all of them. When you go to mutate one, you mutate all of them. So that's why you got to use the list comprehension there. But yeah, so that solution, done correctly as far as Python is concerned, would be like this, I think. Now, if z were a mutable type, if you were putting in like an empty list into everything, then yeah, I would not do that. But I mean, that would even be a matter of, if you're passing in a list, then it's not going to matter, because it's just going to be the same list, and you're going to put it in every one. But if like z was a function, and we were calling it like that, like it's a constructor that's returning some object, then this multiplication is going to be a problem, because now you're just copying the exact same item a million times. Like if we were to do matrix 5 print, okay, let's do that. Let's print this, print the return, and then hit the right buttons, run scratch one. So that print gets called once for each value of x. Let's do this from full tools. import partial, and then we're going to do partial was called, and then we run it. So yeah, you see it gets called once for each iteration of x. I'm not sure why you're doing the type ZZ there. What does that accomplish? Oh, I see. You're just okay. So you're trying to take the value, get the class from it, and create a new instance. That would work. I mean, assuming like that's assuming that the type of Z has a constructor that takes an instance of Z, of the type of Z, and will create a new instance based on that instance. Which is true for like int, it's true for string, it's true for most built-ins. Yeah. So that would work. What you're doing there with the type ZZ would work for most built-in types. I think if you're worried about that, like at that point, you're just going to need to nest your. I mean, I wouldn't even suggest nesting them, because what I would do is I would do from itertools, import product, and then so like let's say we're taking a function and we're going to pass in y and x, right? So let's do lambda y x, and then we're going to just multiply y times x. Or actually, let's do this. Y times 10 plus x. This way each value is unique. So we're doing that, right? And so we're passing it in. And then if we run that, we see we got all 55s. So like what we're normally you might think you might do like for in range y. And then to there we get a bunch of different values. Did I goof something up? I goofed something up, didn't I? Oh, I see why I goofed what I goofed up. I need to do ij. I wanted to take the values from the loop. So there we have like that. But if we were to do this as this way, times y. Oh, what did I do? Goof something up. Where did I go? Oh, I know. I'll just do it that way. So like there, you see each one gets the same exact value of x. What I wanted to show is I wanted to show you could do this with product. And so instead of having to do for I in range y, which yields that the list, you can do for I j in product. See if I remember how to use this correctly. That, and it gives you the exact same result. And this will actually be faster. Should be faster in theory. So. I see you're using copy now. Like, I don't, like, the idea, it really depends on what you're doing. It really is a matter of what you're doing there. Like, it depends on the use case, what you're working on. Because you never know, like, if I don't think there's a general case for this where it's always going to be like you use this solution, this is the solution. There's just a lot of like little edge cases that you need to be aware of with this one, which is what's fun with that one right there. There's just a lot of edge cases. So there's a lot of things you can mess around with and have to be aware of and learn and just be understanding of the system to make it work correctly. And I actually need to do a git pull pause. Yeah, there we go. Now that has all my template stuff. And then we're already running, so if we do that, and then I go localhost 8000. It can, yeah. I mean, but it depends, because copy isn't going to work unnecessarily for everything, like every case. And like you might have to use deep copy, or it might be overkill for a solution. Copy is slow, and deep copy is slow. They're both very slow functions. They're not like the fastest thing you can use. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest using copy unless you really, really need copy. And you can actually simplify this right here. Where'd my scratch file go? I literally just had scratch file. Did I not just have a scratch file? Well, we'll take scratch too. That works. So like here, you can get rid of this bit. Like you can get rid of this. Let's just take this piece. You're only using copy once, so you can just grab it right off of. There we go. So yeah, just import copy and then use it directly. Yeah, you started like within like the first 7 months, so that's pretty cool. You just hit 2 years. Pretty neat. But yeah, pretty nifty. Oh, you're right. Well, actually, not the way Python works, because Python's going to cache it. So it's just going to go out to the cache every time. So it's already doing an assignment for you, and it's just storing it in sys.modules. So yeah, I did literally do that wrong. I did do that wrong. Why is there space? Odd. Oh, I see why this is space, because there's 2 different prints. Blech. I'm tired. I've been awake for a very long time today. So yeah, that's just showing you like you have all your modules, and then if we scroll all the way down here, import somewhere in here, or copy should be in here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Copy reg, copy all the way down to the end there. So yeah. So it gets imported once and added into here, and like if we do copy, after we import it. Oh, I see. Yeah, so there you go. There's your module. So it gets cached there, and every time you use import, it grabs it from here. So yeah, pretty nifty. So, but yeah, you're right. It would do an extra function call here though, because it's going to call import every iteration, and then it's going to call deep copy. So if you move that import out, it's a little bit faster. Like if you really want to make that efficient, you would have copy equals import copy, and then you would do deep copy equals copy dot deep copy, right? So like right like that, and you just do this, and what that does is it gets rid of a few different calls. Because now you're only calling import once. You're calling the import function once, and then when you do this lookup, it's actually doing a dunder get attr, and then it's going to do dunder get attribute. So it's going to call two functions there before it finds the deep copy function. So if you do it once there, you cut out a couple more. So if you're really trying to make it fast, you access it first, put that into a variable, and then you use the variable. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Like, it's like an older language thing, and like it's nice in the sense that it allows you the control you need over everything. By the language doing very little for you, you have to do more yourself. So you have a lot more fine-grained control over how the application functions and how it works. Whereas in Python, it tries to be smart and do things for you. So if you want the module to import, I don't know why you would ever want that, but if you ever want the module to import many times, or if you only need the module once, you don't want it to be cached because you don't want it taking up memory, you have to jump through a lot more hoops to get there. So yeah. And I mean, like, that's another thing, like C++ and C, you're not really thinking about a package being cached. The package is just like, it exists, and you're either saying you're going to use it or you're not going to use it. And the only reason why you have that import where you have to put that if-def lock is so that the compiler knows where to look for the function definitions and the variable definitions and the structs, and so it knows where to look for stuff. That's the only reason you have that. And in Python, you don't have that step where it's trying to figure out where to find stuff. You're literally just telling it, hey, I need you to go get this, and I need you to parse it and compile it, and then create a module object so we can access this stuff. So it's a whole lot more going on there. Whereas in C and C++, it happens at compile time, and when you run your application, that code is already there, built, ready to go. I mean, yeah, for sure. You would end up using import lib. If you wanted to import many times, you'd have to use import lib. I think you have to use the find spec to find the correct specification for the module, and then you have to load the module from the spec. Because if like you just use import lib import module, it's going to add it out to sys.modules. Because it expects things to get that's what that function does. You would have to get a little bit deeper into how the import system functions. So like you have the spec, which tells Python how to, like, you give Python the import, you give the spec finder, the spec factory, I don't even remember exactly how it functions off the top of my head, but like you give it the import path, and then the spec determines whether or not it can import that, and if it can, it returns a certain value. If it can't, it returns another value. And Python goes until it finds a spec that can import that module. And then the spec provides a loader, which will handle loading the module. So you have to know how that all functions and use those things to load the module. And it's actually super powerful because you can actually create a spec and a loader that could load from a SQLite package or a SQLite database, or you could have it load from the network. Like you could have it do all kinds of crazy stuff using the import lib and like the import specs and import loaders, which is pretty neat. I think like Google actually uses some of that stuff. for I think there was a PyCon talk this year about it. And I think Google uses the import loader and the import spec to create their own SQLite database imports. So you can import modules from a database. And the reason they do that is because databases are generally a little bit faster than using like a hard drive lookup. So it gives them some added performance for like running tests and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty neat stuff you can do with that. I've not really messed too deeply with it. But yeah, that's how that would work. Oh, is that what happens? If I open a Scratch file and then I delete everything and then I close it, it gets rid of the Scratch file. That's why I lost my Scratch file. It's like if I get... Alright, okay, now I understand. I never understood that. I knew that my Scratch files would disappear on me, and I didn't know why. So now I can clean up my Scratch files. Cool. Never knew that. Alright, so yeah. Alright, so what do I want to work on here? Let's see. And yeah, it's not necessarily that Python is smart. It's that Python is trying to be helpful. And that's great if you're just trying to write code real quick and not have to think about it too much. But like, yeah. A BOGO method? Not sure what you mean by BOGO there. I know at the grocery store, BOGO usually means buy one, get one, but I don't think that's what you mean here. I'm not familiar with the BOGO sort. BOGOs. I'm... okay. So just generating random orderings until you find one that's sorted. That's definitely an interesting approach. All right. Okay, yeah, that would take absolutely forever, most likely. Yeah. Oh, goodness, alright. So the other day we were working on our super secret project, and we finally got authentication working, and then Thursday night? What's today? Today is Wednesday. So Monday night, I finally got a template system working. So like if we go over, I think it's site has it. Yeah. You just return the template name and then whatever data needs to populate it. You just save the template response. And my template thingy handles all the smarts. And it's using my Bevy package on the back end, which is pretty neat. So I can pull in all this config files and everything using Bevy. So yeah, that I finally got working, which made me happy. That was a late night. I ended up just reading the Fast API docs, just reading through them like a book, trying to understand how things worked, how things functioned, to try and get to a point where I understood enough to be able to do the thing I needed to change how Fast API behaved when calling a route function. And it was more complicated than I would have expected, but not super duper complicated in a way. Like, let's see. We have templates. Where did I put that? Jinja 2. No, it's not there. Response, maybe? Template response. Oh, I put it in context because it just checks for Bevy stuff. So literally I had to create a new route type. And then whenever I create the app, I have to change the route class on the router before you add any routes. This way it knows to use my route class. And then whenever when a new route is added, it creates the handler for it. So basically the handler is what gets called when the route gets run. And so I had to build my own handler to wrap it. And so like it was the whole thing. Like normally this code would get called and then you return this from this function. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to modify how stuff behaved. But I don't want that to be run every time. So I literally had to do it. A handler is none. I have handler out here. And I had to store the super method right there. Pain in the neck. Finally figured it all out. And so now it works. Now it does the thing it needs to do, which is very nice. But next, I have to figure out, we've got to figure out the authentication stuff, because in here, is this where I need to be? Let me see. Where are we generating? Create access token. So the access token doesn't contain unique data. Like there's nothing that changes over time. So for any given user, their access token is always going to be the same. So I've actually got to update this to be a little bit smarter. This is PyCharm. I've got PyCharm running right now. Actually, I'm not using the term. I don't use the term, like, I don't use the terminal in it and anything like that, so. But it's fancy because, like, you can see I have over here on the side, I have a SQLite database open. So, like, I've got this database right here, opened up over here, so I can see all of the data, and then, like, I can even run stuff on it. Yeah, exactly. It's just another IntelliJ browser. So yeah. Pretty fancy, pretty handy. And I'm liking using it on my new 4K monitor, because now I can have my file list open, and I can like literally click on a file and see everything in the structure of the file down here on the bottom. It's like I can see I don't even have to open that file to see it's got a head tag, it's got a meta tag, a title tag, H1, a P tag, and like I can tap on like any of these Python files and see what's in them. What happens if I click on that? Doesn't show me anything for structure. Docker file doesn't show me anything. Git ignore doesn't show me. Like this INI file, I can see a whole bunch of stuff. And like I can click on any of that and jump right into stuff, which is super handy. It doesn't actually support. Does it support TOML? It doesn't support TOML, which is interesting. Yeah, I find IntelliJ like JetBrains makes really good IDEs. VS Code is almost there; it's getting there, but I don't think VS Code like I can have so many panels open up on this, that I can just see so much stuff going on. It's super handy. It's super nice. It makes things so much easier to work with. Yeah, I know. VS Code is super extensible and super widely used. So it's got a lot of the functionality. It's just not well integrated. And that's the problem I've had with it. Oh, it looks like we had a second person join. Don't know who it is. Hello. Hi there. How are you doing? So yeah. Yep. And I have my own little custom theme I designed for it. So everything here is my own custom coloring. I had a different one, and so I changed it up when I got a new computer. So yeah. Well, not even a new computer. I changed it up when I got the new monitor, the 4K. So all right. Oh yeah, I wanted to be in there because I wanted to change this right here. We need to make this a little bit smarter. We're gonna do this. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do add Bevy method. Create token. All right. And then we're going to do data. It'll have whatever we want. And then it's going to return. And then we need to do settings. Oh, that's right. That's got to go before data. There we go. And then we just copy this right here. That's going to go right there. Yeah, that's the one bummer with JetBrains. Like, with Python, you can get PyCharm CE for free, which is really nice. But like if you do Go or if you do C# or you do C, like all of those IDEs cost money, and it's like it's a bit of a bummer. I'm not storing these tokens. These tokens they're JWTs, so they're just being sent as cookies, or as headers. And so like, have you messed with JWTs before? Have you seen how they work? Yeah. So like, they just get B64 encoded, and then like you can literally, we can pop out here. We can do. Let's create a new Scratch file, Python. Import JWT, and then let's do token equals JWT dot encode, and then T value, and then we're gonna do this is the private key, and then HS 256. You can use any encoding you want. Like you can use RSA, and you can use like an actual RSA key. I actually have a stream probably a month and a half ago where we set this up to use SSH keys for a JWT token, which is pretty neat. And then if we do print, I'm just going to use HS256. That's a symmetric key. So you're just using one key, and it's literally anything. It's like a passcode kind of deal. And then we're going to print out the token, and then let's just import B64. Import base64, and then let me do header payload signature equals token dot split on the dot. Print B64 dot decode header, and then we're gonna do base64 dot decode payload. And then if we I know. B64 decode. Then we gotta do B64 decode. Run that again. So like right here, this top part, this is the token. This is right here the token, okay? And like you can see, I'm not actually doing a JWT. Yeah. Like so the way the JWT works is it has three parts. Like you see, it's got this period here, and then it's got a period here. So you have the header section. The header is right here, and it contains like what is it, the type, it's a JWT, and what algorithm we used, HS256. And then the second part is the payloads. That's the actual data we put in it. Like right here is the payload we put into it. And then this last part is the signature of the first two parts. So it creates these first two parts, and then it creates the signature. And so you can see, like, it's literally not actually encrypting the data at all. It's just it's just B64 encoded, so I can just decode it, right? But and like, so like if I do print jwt.decode, and then I give it the token, and then I tell it the key, this is the private key, and then we tell it it's HS256. And then if we rerun that, so now we see it unpacked it, right? If I change the key, is not the private key, it gives me a trace back, invalid signature, right? So then if I change it back, now let's do something crazy. Bad token equals, we're going to take the header, we're going to do header dot, and then we're going to create a bad payload, and we're going to do, how is it? It's JSON encoded, so like it's JSON. It stores the values as JSON. So I want to just import JSON. And then we'll do bad payload JSON dot dumps. And we're going to do key bad value. So we're going to try and change the value of this, right? And then we're going to do, got a B64 encode that, dot B64 encode. And then we're going to do bad payload. And then we got to do signature. So we're just rebuilding this token, okay? So we split apart the token here. And we got the header, the payload, and the signature. And here I'm going to rebuild it with the dots between. I'm going to take the header from the valid token and put in my own changed payload. All right. And then I'm going to use the same signature, and we can print out that bad token. And then we're going to try to decode the bad token. And you see invalid signature verification failed. So we've changed the token, but the signature doesn't match. So the JWT gives an exception when we attempt to decode it, which is really cool. And so you don't actually have to hit your database at any point to validate that the data in the cookie is valid. And that's what's the great part about the JWTs. And so as long as this right here remains a secret and nobody has access to it and you never send it to the client, you can send a JWT to the client and they can send that JWT back, and you can verify that the data in that token is the valid data that you sent down to begin with. And that's what we're doing. That's the idea there. So you never have to hit the database. Now, the problem I'm running into here is that all of my tokens have the same values in them. So my token is always the same. So if someone's token gets stolen, or if they try to log out, and there's like anybody can rebuild the token so long as they know what the signature was. So it's not great. It's not a good solution. So I've got to change it. So I have created. I'm going to put a created value, and then it's going to be a date time. Dot now dot timestamp. Like that. So we just got to import date time. There we go. Did I not use that? What happened there? Where did it go? I thought I used that. Oh, I put data time. There we go. Date time. I did it. And actually, I'm not even going to put that there. I'm going to put that. Like, all of my tokens are going to have a created time on them. Right, like that. So now, and then that's going to encode it. It has the settings. We're going to do settings.jwt.algorithm. Look right there. So now I'm creating a function to create a token that has arbitrary data in it, and it's going to always have a created time. And so then here we do self.create token, and then we pass in username, email, all right, and this is always going to return a string. And we don't need this here anymore. Boom. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Self.create token. And then we don't need this here. Cool. All right, cool. So now we can create an access token. We can create an email token. Update. There we go. All that does is store credentials and basic. It can store anything you want. I wouldn't store credentials. I would store. So the way you generally do it is when the user logs in, you hash their password, and then you compare that hash with whatever's stored in the database. And if it matches, then you generate a token that has like their user ID and some maybe like their role, like they're an admin or a mod or just a general user, and then you might store like their username. And so like you've got the ID, so you know who it is. And then you put the username and the role so that your JavaScript can just decode the JWT and get their information from it, some useful information from it, for like so like it knows what to display on the front end. And it doesn't have to make an API request for that now because it's just stored in the token, right? But because it's signed, they can't change any of that stuff. So you can store anything you want. You just want to make sure you're not storing anything that's insecure, that should be private. So like you don't want to store their password hash in there because then anybody can get a hold of that. You don't want to store anything that like you wouldn't want other people to ever have access to. So if it's public information, like the user's role or the user's username, it's safe to store that in there. It's just a simple way to store some basic information to do some basic identification. And because you're signing it, you always know that if the user sends it back to you, it's what you sent down to them. And that signature allows you to say, hey, we know that this token was generated by us. So if you only ever generate that token for a user who's logged in, who sent a valid password, then you know if they have the token that their password checked out and that they are logged in, and they are who they say they are. So and that's why it's handy. And because you can store the data in the token, you don't have to go out to the database every time to check it. So you can kind of get some very basic session handling in the token stored in the user's cookies, and you don't have to hit your database to get the session data every time. So it can be handy in that way. All right. Eventually, when I do this create user access token, that will have the role on it. For now, it won't. And let's just make sure we didn't break anything. Reload that. Okay, so it recognizes me. And then if I go to admin /ub, internal server error, I don't have the necessary roles, no such table roles. Not sure why the roles table doesn't exist. We'll have to figure that out at some point. And then if we do log out, you've been logged out. Now if I go back home, it says not logged in. And if I do auth/discord.login, this should still function. Authorize Invalid state. Great, that's functioning. Happy that's functioning. Localhost 8000. Not an admin. But now if I go to the home page, oh, that actually, there we go. Yep. See, log me back in. That Discord login's a little bit confusing. Hey, Moses, how's it going? It is. From a few days ago. I've had it for the last few streams, so it tells me you haven't been watching. Yeah, you could use it. I've actually been using snowflakes on some of the other projects. I find snowflakes to be pretty fancy and handy. I don't think for this project we're going to end up using snowflakes anytime soon. Like the thing with the snowflakes and like the JWTs is they kind of overlap. Because the snowflakes encoding some extra data into the value. And the JWT is just encoding data. Like the snowflake doesn't give you any security though. There's no signing. You could sign it. You could create a signature on a snowflake and store that in the snowflake. It's just another data format. They're just different data formats. And like the JWT isn't binary, and like most of your snowflakes are storing by binary data. Yeah, I know. Everybody's got a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to finish this up so we can do the summer of code thing. It's gonna end at the rate we're going. It's gonna be the fall of code, the autumn of code. I want to have it done by this Sunday. Like, it's not gonna be pretty. It's just gonna be a website. It's probably gonna be like exactly like what you see right here, where it's just literally very basic, no formatting. Maybe we'll slap like a theme on it somehow. Like, I know there's a few themes that you can download, like CSS themes you can download that just apply styling to the standard HTML tags to make things look a little bit nicer. So maybe we'll use that. We'll see. All right, so we just got this working. We now are applying a timestamp, a created timestamp to our. We actually should make that an int, probably. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, I think I've heard of the pico.css. Let's pull that up real quick. I haven't had a chance to figure out how to do static stuff with something's loading. Oh, there we go. I haven't had a chance to use static content with Fast API, so that has not been figured out yet. But yeah, this would look infinitely better. Actually, does this use a CDN? Get started. Yeah, you have to download it. That's, oh wait, nope, here we go. Use a CDN. So let's copy that, and we can add that. If I come over here to templates, and then we go to index, and then we go up here, and we just add that real quick. And then I think, boom, looks much better. How do they want me to format my body content though? They want me to do main class container. So it's not super basic. Main class equals container, but it's a little bit nicer. And move that up there. Let me get rid of that. Boom, boom. And then we come back over here, and then we reload. There we go. There we go. Looks a lot prettier now. And if I were to come over here and delete the database, right? And then we were to log out. Well, bring it up now. Admin/logout. You have been logged out. Now we're going to go ahead and apply this to ManageDB. I need to make a uniform header. And then we need to do main class content or container. Bring that down right here works. There we go. So now we've got that styled, and then if I were to attempt to log in again, auth, Discord login, authorize, and then we gotta go back to the local host. 8,000. Not an admin. Why did it give me not an admin? I thought I deleted the database. I guess we'll have to fix that. So why did that? Odd. Very, very odd. That was supposed to be working. Oh well, it's not working. We're gonna come right over here to authentication. No, not authentication. We want to do. Where is the thing I need? It's right here. Is it correct? Is my correct? Is this where I need to be? I need to be an admin. That's where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to admin. And then let's just get rid of. Not log in, not log out. I want to go here. I don't need the session for what I want to do right now. Boom. Internal server error. I did need the session, didn't I? Boom, boom, there we go. Boom! That looks a lot prettier. The button is so big, though. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot better than it did before. And like if we were to come over here, not over there. We want to go over here. Then we go back to, and this is what it looked like before. Boom. Night and day, huh? Night and day. So yeah, we'll stick with Pico for now, huh? And how do we... Jinja must have. Jinja include template. But how do I do it? Okay, there we go. So, if I do this, at include header.html, and then we come over here, HTML, we're going to call it header.html. Nope, I don't want all that. No, thank you. Go away. Boom, there we go. That's all we want. And then we do title. How do I do a condition? Jinja condition. If I could spell. Alright, so we have to do. Can I do it? Send if title in data percent and actually, oops, did I give something up? Can't tell. Why is there two of them there? Let's move this out here. Ah, no, you know what? Leave that. And then how do I do an else? And just like that. Okay, cool. And then percent else percent. There we go. So now we have a header. And if I go over to here, we go reload, boom. And it has something weird going on. What's going on? It keeps putting two of them. Why does it keep putting two of them? So now the header is summer of code. But then if I go back over to admin and I do title, manage database, admin, and then we have to restart the server. And then we reload it. Still says summer of code. Why does it say summer of code? Back over here. They did. How does it work? If priority, if title in data, title, else summer of code. So it seems like title is not in. If I do this, does it show me the thing in the body? It does. But it still says summer of code. Why is it not working? Anybody have any ideas? Actually, you know what? It might be this doesn't exist. Let's do this. If title, maybe that's what we have to do, right? Like that. Let's try that. Let's try that. There we go. Now it changed the title. If title, else summer of code. Get rid of that. So now, whoops, I can include this on all of my pages. I can take this, that, we can get rid of this and replace it with that. And then we can go into login, we can do the same thing. Log out, we can do the same thing. And then we can go admin, or let's just go home. There, that's working. And then we can go admin, log out. I've been logged out. They don't have the correct formatting. Main, class, container. There we go. So now if we reload log out, there we go. And if I were to go to log in, we need to get that formatted correctly. I'm trying to see. Gives me a div. Ah, there we go. I knew there was a way to do it. Okay. And no, that's what I was using. I was trying to learn how to use Emmet. I've never used it before. Yeah, I knew it existed. I just didn't know how to make it work. It doesn't, like, it suggests it at first, which is what confused me. But as soon as I added a class, it screwed up. It's like I could do p dot main or content. Can I set an ID? Again, cool, awesome, great job. There we go. Very fancy. That'll be handy once I get used to it. Gotta remember, I started writing HTML in 2005 before any of this existed. So I'm used to writing my own HTML. Alright, what do we need to do here? And then if I go to... That phone doesn't exist right there. I not logged in. Cool. Very, very cool. Very fancy. Looks pretty. And... this... Let's add that. Admin... And pigo.css. Make things look pretty. Add a token created time. Oops. So let me just amend to that last one, right? I think I need to discard that. I changed it so we could check that one page because the login isn't working for some reason. We're going to amend that last one to add these two files to it. Boom, there we go. We got first two commits. Looking good. Very fancy. And just out of curiosity, themes. So we can have a light mode, we can have a dark theme, customization. So I can set a style on the root using a CSS variable. That's very cool. Very, very fancy. You know, CSS is so much more powerful now. Like, you used to not... Like, I remember writing CSS before variables were a thing in CSS. And I remember writing CSS when variables were like a thing that we knew was coming, but nothing supported it yet, so we couldn't use it. So, like, we all had to use... That's why I still use Sass for most of my CSS stuff. Because it gives you the ability to use variables and to import other CSS files and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. But, like, it's come so far. What is classless? Interesting. So, yeah, looks like we get a lot of fancy stuff out of the box. What do we have for layout? Containers. Oh, so we do get a grid layout. Main container. So that's going to give us our breakpoints. Fluid gives a 100% layout, so there's no... it's like I've got a margin. This is going to keep it centered. If I were to make that fluid, it would just stay all the way to this edge. Which is pretty neat. That's pretty standard. All right, cool. And then there's sections, which is handy. That's very handy. And then we get our grid. Which is cool. Does it? No. You might have to experiment. Oh, yeah, I might have to experiment with that. Horizontal scroller, that's pretty handy. Elements, typography. So you've got your H1s, your smalls. Pretty nifty. Block quote. Okay, cool. And you got your footers. So it's got pretty much just about everything. So if you give it a roll as a button, okay, cool. Secondary contrast, very neat, very neat. Ooh, and you can do outline buttons. Forms. This is the coolest part. Like, this right here is really neat. They're using the grid. How are they doing? First and last name. Oh, okay, I see. So they're doing the grid with 2 columns, and so it automatically handles the columns. And then they have no grid, and that's how the email is the full width. The tables look really cool. What's components got? They've got they have accordions. Oh, that's very handy. We love a good accordion. Ooh, fancier accordions. Cards. So you can have a header. So the cards are articles, alright. They have a header, they have a footer. Drop downs. Is this just a select or oh nope, it's an actual drop down. Or wait, is it a select? Okay. Oh, I see, there's the difference. So you can have a drop down or you can have a select, and they both look the same, which is tricky. Sometimes it can be really hard to get your select to look like a drop down, like your style drop down. Then we've got modals. Cancel, confirm. Launch a demo modal. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Confirm. Do they allow you to change the... Oh, I just noticed. This header here has a blur on it. Very, very cool. Something else that didn't exist 10 years ago. Couldn't do that 10 years ago for sure. I'm just curious, like, if there's animation styling on it, or are you just stuck with the animation they give you? Nope, looks like you gotta stick with the animation they give you. And then you get the navigation. You can put a button in it. Very cool. And then progress. Utilities, loading. Tooltips. Ooh, that's pretty neat. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I like that. That works for me. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. It's just I was curious if they had I was just curious if they had a way to just change it with like a class. Um to like maybe like a fade, like I think Bootstrap used to, or maybe it was an extension for it. You could change the animations and stuff just by setting a class on the item, on the element. So yeah, that works pretty well. That works good enough for us. For this project, that'll be decent to get started at least. Might change in the future, who knows? But for now, that's a good starting place. All right. So now we've fixed a couple things here. We've gotten the styles look pretty. And then we've updated this, so every time you create a new token, you get a new created time. So this way the token changes with time, so it isn't always the same. Yeah, it was mentioning something about that. I don't want to use Bootstrap, which is why I didn't install Bootstrap to start with. Bootstrap is just a bit bulky, and I get the sense from the name, and like I've heard about Pico before, but like the point of Pico is it's fairly lightweight. Like does it say? Yeah, Overkill, and it's like they're advertising this as being small. So yeah, pretty cool. I like it. It's nice. Ooh, does it show how they did this? I guess I could inspect the source and see how they did it. So they've got a card, and then they've got all the sign-in stuff on it, and they have an image on it. Auto, light. Pretty neat. And then that just takes you to... Oh, there we go. Source code. Is that going to bring me to the source code for this? Yes, it is. All right. Index.html. Like, what is all of this? This is the nav. And then you have the sign in, you have an age group, a header group. Okay. And then you have your form, your field set. I'm curious. I'm trying to see. So they've got the div. Then they have another div over here. So they must be grabbing that. And it must be inside their CSS that they're doing that image. Yeah, they're grabbing nth of type 2. And then they're setting the image background. Alright. So they're not actually, it's not actually a functionality of Pico that does that image on the side there. They're having to add that in later. But because they're using the, if I go back over here, are they doing grid? They're doing, yeah, right here. They're using grid. And so, since they have this empty div, the grid automatically adds a second column. And then they're going in and styling the second div to have a background. Which is an acceptable way of doing it. It's not a bad way of doing it. It would be nice. Like, I think it would be neat if they had designed it so you could just do all of that from HTML. But, like, that adds a lot more stuff. Like, if that's not a feature you're going to use, now you have all that CSS for it inside of Pico. And that's what they're trying to avoid. They just want it to be super lightweight, super simple, super basic. And you can then, so you just drop it in, you use their structure, their classes, and you get a pretty nice site for free, basically. And then you can go in and do your CSS to add in whatever other styles you need, whatever looks you need. So, yeah, pretty simple. All right, so I got that working. We've got this right here. Huge improvement to security because when a user first tries to authenticate, so if we come back over here to auth, they come in over here to Discord login. It creates a user access token with ID -1 and username unauthenticated user, right? Because before it wasn't setting the created time, it wasn't setting a time, it was just setting the ID and the username. Everybody, when they logged in, got the exact same access token. Now, that won't happen because now it gets the created time. So unless they both happen to create happen to click the login at the exact same second, they won't get the exact same cookie, same session cookie. So pretty handy, pretty fancy. Do we want to just make a session token? Nah, it only gets used once. I think this is fine. Or, you know what? Let's do that. Let's make this not private. Whoops. I just changed the name of it. Why are you not? Update usages. Please update the usages. There we go. Then we can do this. We can just do auth.create token, right? And then we do nothing. We're not going to provide any data. It's going to be that right there. We don't even need to await it. There we go. So now, when you go to login, you just get a token that has a created time on it. Yeah. What we can do is, we can do this. Type equals logging in Discord. Login. Yeah, no, we won't do Discord. We'll just call it login. Right? Yeah, that works. We'll just call it login. And so now, if I come over here, let's fill that. Restart it. And then let's go up here. Are we not logged in? Yeah, we're not logged in. So then if we go auth, Discord login, authorize, invalid state, so it didn't try anything because we're on the website. And now we go localhost, 8000. Not an admin. I don't know why it keeps taking me to there. Oh, I know why it keeps saying I'm not an admin. There we go. There we go. So that works. So this right here functioned because the whole purpose of this right here on this Discord login is to create a token which is then used as my Discord state. So when you see it saying that when I go to auth Discord login and then I click to authorize, it's taking me out to the beginner.code's website. So it doesn't know about the cookie. The secret for that cookie is different. So it's saying the detail invalid state is saying the state is wrong. And that's what this cookie is. This cookie right here is the login state. And so it knows, hey, I didn't create this state cookie, so this is not a valid login. So when I go to the local host, it recognizes that state cookie that's created right here, and it says, all right, we're good to go. This is safe. And like you can see right here, it's just using the session ID for the state. Right, like that. Pretty handy, pretty fancy, pretty simple. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Moses. It was good having you. But yeah. So now that's working, and so that's more secure because not everybody's getting the same session cookie when they're trying to log in, because now it's tied to the time of day. It has the time built in there. So we can go back over here. Create token public. And simplify the session cookie. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Vortetti. Happy to hang out with you. You were a lot of fun. Have a good night. Alright, so there we go. We're up to 4 commits on there. Trying to think what else I need to do on this. I don't think I gotta do much more. I think I might call it a night myself. I need to go get dinner. Had a good night. Had a couple people hang out. Chatted a bit. And then the reason why this is blowing up is because this right here is not my email. And then if we restart this, boom. And then I go delete that. Invalid code. So the code expired apparently. So if I were to go off, login, authorize, then we go local host 8000. Boom. There we go. Run DB migrations. Boom. Very cool. Makes me happy. It worked. All right, so did I need to change anything else here? Nope, nothing changed, so we're good to go. All right, I don't think I have anybody watching right now. I've had a lot of fun tonight, guys. If anybody watches this in the future. So yeah, we had a good time. We figured some stuff out. We chatted about some stuff. We ended up chatting about JWTs quite a bit and encryption and security quite a bit. Maybe I should make a video on that at some point because it seems to be something that is of interest to a lot of people, and we don't really ever get to talk about. Like, I don't think it gets talked about enough. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of it. And it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool technology that lets you do some secure data exchange with a client, and then they can send that data back, and you can use that to identify them. You can use that to securely share data between them and another part of your service that has your key, and you don't have to talk to the database. And that's where it really shines, is you're able to send data through the client to other parts of your service, and you know it's secure. The value can be validated. You know the value is valid because it's signed. So yeah, maybe I'll try and make a video sometime this summer about using JWTs with RSA and HSA, symmetric and asymmetric keys, because it's an interesting topic, and I think it's something that a lot of people would benefit from knowing more about. So maybe that'll be something I'll have to think about. Something I'll make a video maybe about in the future. I know I wanted to make a video about poetry, and I want to make a video about using like JSON with Discord.py. That's another question that pops up a lot on the server. So yeah, and if like if whoever is watching this, if I don't think anyone's watching right now, but like if you're watching in the future and you're not aware of the Beginner.Code's Discord server, you should come over there and join us. The link should be in the description down below. We're about 8,000 members, but it's not so large of a community where if you ask a question or say something in chat, that's going to get lost in a deluge of messages. So it's still got that like small community feel. You can get to know people, get to hang out, and get to have fun, get to learn things. If you've got questions, we've got a help system where you can ask your questions. It's not going to get lost in all the conversation. And we love to have new people. We're a very beginner-friendly community. We're a very friendly community. We'd like to meet people. We'd like to get to know people. We'd like to chat and hang out and talk about memes and all that fun stuff. So we'd love to have you. Join us down there. If you want to reach out to me and talk to me, I'm on Twitter. I check my YouTube comments, and I'm on the beginner.code Discord server daily. Like, I'm there every day. I'm up to a 401 day streak. I've messaged every day. It's longer than that. I've messaged for way longer than that. We added a system to keep track of our message streaks, and I'm up to 401 days. And that's how many days it's been since the feature's been added to count to track our streaks. So yeah, you should join us there if you've not already joined us there. We'd love to have you. Let me know any questions you have down in the comments below. So yeah, I will be streaming maybe this Sunday. I'm not sure. Watch my Twitter, watch the Discord. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming this Sunday. Gotta find out from the family if there's any plans for the 4th of July here in the States. We got the holiday. I know I'm gonna be at my sister's on the 4th, for my nephew's birthday. But I'm not sure if my parents and like the rest of my family has anything going on the 3rd. We generally have something going on. Everybody's off on Sundays, so we generally celebrate holidays on Sunday. But I'm not sure what's going on. So I'll have to find out from them. I'll let you know what's going on if I will be streaming on Sunday. I know I will be trying to code on Sunday. I'm trying to get some stuff done. I want to get the Summer of Code thing going, this mystery project, whatever the Summer of Code is going to be. I want to reveal it on the 4th, on the 3rd. Sunday the 3rd is when I want to reveal it. Whenever it's done, hopefully in the next week and a half, we're going to start it. Like, that's when it's going to start. But I've got to get it working. I've got to get all this stuff functioning. There's a few more things I got to get working before it'll be ready for release. And now that it's got the Pico CSS, it looks great. Just out of the box, it looks okay. It looks good. And we don't have to be like, oh, this looks horrible. We don't want to release it. At least now it looks acceptable. So yeah. But yeah, I will be streaming, if not this Sunday. If I'm not streaming this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I will be streaming next Wednesday at the same time, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. I do that every Wednesday. I've been most consistent on my Wednesdays. I did miss one. I was just exhausted and tired and was completely out of it and forgot all about it. But I do try to stream every Wednesday at 5 p.m. And every Sunday at 3 p.m. Sundays I'm a little less consistent because, like I said, that's when my family hangs out. That's when we do stuff. Because everybody's free on Sundays. So watch the Twitter, watch the Discord. That's where I announce stuff. I announce stuff less consistently on Twitter. So if you're on the Discord, I'm more likely to announce stuff there. So yeah. All right. You all have a great day. Y'all have a great week. I will see you Sunday, maybe, definitely next Wednesday. Definitely next Wednesday. Keep an eye out on the Discord because we will be announcing the Summer of Code when it begins. When it's launched, it will be announced on the Discord. So be there and we'll let you know what's going on. All right? So y'all have a great week. I will be having